Toot. Hello, everybody. My name is Rodgon. I am an artist, and today we will draw together. So, what I like to do in the beginning of the streams, while I get everybody else to come into the stream, we will talk a little bit about what we talked about last time. So last time we started off with drawing hair and explaining how hair drapes around an object. How you should be seeing it as an object that's laying on top of your head, and it doesn't extrude too much past your head. And how it just drapes like a towel going over your head. We explained how hair is directed towards the areas that it's pointed in. And we also talked a little bit about visualizing things in 3D and also about line weights, hands, arms, and how to use the beanbag to create a bunch of different things. And the importance of perspective with your drawings. So we talked about a bunch of fun things, and I wanted to start drawing today. So, seeing as I am going to embark on a little travel tomorrow, I am going off to the UK. I'm gonna go to Edinburgh for a week. And I have never been to the UK, so this is going to be a very interesting day. It's just going to be a nice little adventure. This time around, I'm not going to have anyone with me, which is the first time that I ever travel overseas by myself. So it's going to be interesting. It's not like I'm scared or anything. I'm a big boy, but it's just interesting having to travel to foreign destinations by yourself, right? It's intimidating. And, alongside with that is like all the research that you got to do, and you have to like make sure that you have all the necessary items and vaccinations and all that stuff. But I'm going to be gone for a while. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to stream too much when I'm over there. But I'm bringing a little streaming setup anyways, just in case I have time to sit down at the airport and draw, and like I get to like chill with, what you guys are. You guys are essentially my sketch buddies, right? I might not know any individual that is actually watching this, but I see 400 or 500 people logging in to draw with me every day. And, I know that there's a need for people to have somebody there to draw with them. I know that because that's me. I love having people to draw with. I love having people to bounce ideas off of. And unfortunately, in my day-to-day life, I don't really get that. I don't get that much. I don't get to meet people like that or the ideal candidates to be my friends. I do have a handful of friends that are amazing, but most of them are not very art inclined. They're huge, like wonderful, amazing people, but they just don't understand the tribulations that I have to go through. So instead, they always just praise me. They're like, "Oh my God, you're amazing. Oh, you're so good. Oh, you'll be fine. You're a genius. Blah, 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 blah." And as much as I love them for doing that, because it does, make me feel good. It does stroke my ego. The one thing that it does also, it sets up like a false narrative of where we are in our, in our lives. And that's going to be the topic for today. We're going to talk about why praise is not necessarily always good. Okay? Why getting compliments and why you should take good and bad feedback exactly with the same amount of notion. You should not pay more attention to positive feedback than negative feedback. Essentially, what you are experiencing most of the time as an artist is a very biased way of seeing your art. Okay? Most of the time, at the beginning of your career, most of your praise will come from family members and maybe, teachers, and maybe some friends, right? Now, at these developing stages, depending on the type of person your parents or your family is, they're going to be very supportive, right? They're going to always be like, "Yeah, you're the best. boy. Oh, you're my boy. You're the best. Oh my God, look at what my boy did. Oh, my little boy, my little girl. They're going to be proud because, first of all, creating art is not easy. It's not easy. So, even when an adult sees a little kid do art, you're like, holy moly, like, what? How did you learn to do that? Mostly because we, as like most adults, don't really understand the concept of creating art, or we lost that concept a long time ago, right? We just kind of lost like the love of it, and maybe we were into it at one point, but then someone told us it was silly, and then we just like kind of stopped. And then, some other people told us it was silly, and then we see like the one person that like actually followed their dream, and then you get jealous. You're like, oh man, maybe I should have done that instead of like accounting. And then that's when we like go back and we start rethinking about like going back to our like, our love or passion. Maybe you just loved writing when you were younger and you just wrote all these amazing stories, and then all of a sudden someone told you can't make money with that, so you stopped. And then you just, went through life not even giving it a shot. Maybe you're like the next J.K. Rowling, or maybe you're just like the next Stephen King. But you decided that it was too much of a risk, so you just decided to go into something else. And that's perfectly acceptable. That's still a valid way of seeing life. You have to make sure that you are financially set. But isn't it just really super funny that every single time that somebody is financially stable, they always tend to go into the creative arts, right? Like very few people, when they're old and they have like no time left, or they have achieved everything they wanted, very rarely do they go like, oh, well, I would just want to do more business. I just want to go do more travel trips. Nah, they're like, man, I just want to paint on the countryside in the vineyard, drinking wine. And, that's the thing that you could do as a living. I mean, you don't have to wait until you're like successful by other people's standards to be able to enjoy all the things that you like. So let me explain to you why you should be listening to negative feedback much more than positive feedback. Negative feedback might make you feel like doo-doo. It's going to make you feel like, ugh, right? You're going to be like, thanks for that comment, sir. I didn't know that fingers had 5 fingers. Right? Like, there's always somebody that's going to say something stupid or like, sarcastic or something. Or people that just like to make sure that, for some reason, like their opinion is said. As an artist that's been doing this for 20 years, you get that from both clients and you get that from followers. People just like to have their own opinion about things, and they love doing so in a way that wakes you all riled up, right? Because people like to get reactions from the people that they follow. They're not necessarily trying to be mean, they just want to get a reaction, right? They want their favorite artist to comment, or like, that's why also like what negging is. If you guys are familiar with the term negging, right? So guys tend to do this stupid thing where they compliment a girl with a negative comment. Like, oh, only you can like pull off having such like, like naughty hair, like nasty hair, and then I still look sexy. Crap like that. Like, that's the same thing that's going on. Well, okay, so essentially these people do that. These trolls do that because, that's the way they get interaction with the people. Otherwise, if they say a nice comment, they normally don't get any feedback. So they have developed the skill to, annoy the living hell out of people just to get a reaction, and that's all they want. So, but not all negative feedback is like that. Sometimes you have to actually pay attention to what people are saying. So if somebody says like, hey, your arms suck, or, that hand is horrible, what are you talking about? You know what? I would listen to that and be like, why is he saying that? Okay. Oh, yeah, I can tell because there's like literally no palm and then everything is there. But duh, that's why it looks weird. So if something like that came up, I'd take a note and be like, hand is off. And then I would just try to quickly redraw the hand. and see where I messed up. And then just destructure it really quickly in however way and fashion you know how. It doesn't have to be a certain way. In this case, I'm just breaking it down into blobbies that mark the muscles. And I am noticing that I'm missing a big chunk right here, right? Like if my fingers were just bent, they'd be just like a big block. So it'd be something like that. So I'm missing a big chunk of hand right here. So therefore, boom, the next time that I go in to draw this, I'm most likely not going to make the same mistake. Okay? Your whole sketchbook should be doing notes like that. It doesn't look like any character. It looks like his character is curated. What? That's an irregular character. That's me. Here, let me show you guys my face. So you guys, like, I don't know how to flip this, actually. How do you flip this? No, that's not it. How do you flip the camera? I have no idea how to flip the camera, but that's my face. I draw myself a lot. And the reason that I draw myself a lot is because that's my standard character. The reason that I became an artist was to journal my life. I always wanted to have my own journal, my own little like comic about me. And not necessarily so that people would read it or anything. I just wanted to be able to journal it myself because I enjoy, sharing my experiences with people. That is the reason that I started drawing. I didn't start drawing so I could work at an animation studio or I want to be like the next Walt Disney. I want to be... Nah, screw that. I didn't care about that. The only reason that I got into art was because I wanted to be able to make a cool, fun journal for myself. That way, whenever I die, I'd have cool stories to pass on to people. Well, anyways, let's go back to the topic because otherwise I'm going to deviate completely and then we never get anywhere. So negative praise, what I like to call negative praise at some point, that's actually a term that I use, is when people just compliment you to be nice to you. Right? When people are just literally complimenting you just with the intent to make you feel good, that is negative positive reinforcement, if that makes any sense. Because they're not helping you. Encouraging you is one thing, but fomenting the thought that you are ready or that you are adequate at a certain task when you're not ready yet is a very detrimental thing to do. Now, a lot of the times, this doesn't really have much of an effect on people. Right? For the most part, you're going to just be like, oh, yeah, hey, what's wrong with a little inspiration? That's nothing wrong with a little inspiration. The problem is when people think that they can achieve a goal, they mess up, they don't do it, and then they give up. Because they get discouraged because everybody has been telling them their whole lives that they are amazing. And the moment that they get put up against people that really have that skill set, they get so discouraged because... hey, maybe I wasn't as good as people thought I was. Oh, maybe I'm not meant for this. And that all comes from your, expectations from all the praise that you got as you were, developing your skills. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not saying, oh, you should never get praised by anything. Oh, don't accept praise. Yeah, praise is amazing. Praise is awesome. If you get told that you do something great, take it. That doesn't diminish the fact that you are creating something awesome. But take it with a grain of salt. Okay? Do not just accept what people say from the word of their mouth. Analyze what people say. Listen to how people say it. And, ask questions. Be like, hey, so what makes my art great? In your opinion, what makes the art great? And then you'll start seeing, if people that are genuine about it, they will be like, oh, yeah, this, and this. And the people that aren't will be like, well, you're just such an awesome artist. And, you have, all this talent and stuff, So, I couldn't do that. That's fake praise. Okay? When people are like, oh, yeah, your, characters are amazing and they have such life. And then they can actually describe what you're, trying to convey, they're trying to understand it, that's real praise. But don't let yourself fall like under the trap of just listening to everybody praise you and think that you are like a god. Okay? This is what happens with tattoo artists. Tattoo artists, in my opinion, are some of the most talented and some of the most incredibly untalented human artists ever. It's either one or the other. But the one thing that all share in common is the fact that they think they're godly. Like, people treat them like superstars. So everybody's like thinking that every tattoo artist is great. And no. That's just not the case. So if you're going to get a tattoo, make sure, for the love of God, make sure they can draw a straight line. Make sure that they have clean lines in their portfolios, okay? Like, if they don't have a straight line, if they can't do a straight line on skin, run. Run. You are about to get fucked up. All right, so let's go. Okay, I'll let you. I started drawing this, but let's see. So that was our first theme. What should we draw next? You guys can choose what I draw next. My father is a tattoo artist and is very self-conscious about his own work, but I can admit he's amazing. So, some people do have a good skill. I was dating a wonderful tattoo artist by the name of Marianne Fredericks, and she is one of the top-notch tattoo artists. So I know what a good tattoo artist is compared to like a horrible tattoo artist out there. It's just, once you're around talent, you understand what talent is. And then it's just like insanely difficult to unsee it. A guinea pig with a hat. Oh my God. Okay. We're going to use this. We're going to make this into the hat. And then a guinea pig, huh? I don't even know what a guinea pig really looks like. I know they look like little potatoes. I know they look like that. My tattoo artist was pretty bad, and it's my first tattoo. Oh, man, 3 weeks in and it's fading? That's horrible, man. I'm so sorry. That's just like a super shitty situation. Okay, I'm going to be guessing what a guinea pig looks like because I'm not really sure. I know that they have like a bunch of hair. So I'm just going to draw like a little fuzzy thing. They'll have a bunch of hair. And you guys wanted it to be with a hat, so I'm going to give him a top hat. Because he's fancy. So, okay, just to reiterate the point that we were talking about a little bit. Make sure that whenever you are receiving any feedback, you analyze the feedback. If it's just terribly negative, like, oh, you suck, don't listen to that either, because there's nothing you can deconstruct from that. But if someone's like, hey, your arm is off, or your style's kind of weird, like, what is wrong with it? Ask them. Ask people. Be like, okay, you took the time to comment on my thing, so obviously you're trying to say something, right? So you're trying to, like, people that do that, they're still trying to pass on a thought to you. So it's up to you to take it as a negative or as a positive. Now, if a person is commenting on my art and they say something like, oh, that's off, I'm going to question that. Not in the, oh my God, why would anybody say something negative like that? No, not like that. Like, that's pointless. Like, there's no reason to get sad or upset because of something somebody says online. It's just feedback. Okay, imagine you're just like a customer and you're getting reviews back from Amazon. So now that you have your review, what are you going to do about it? Right? You can either be like, oh, that client was so mean. He left a bad comment. Or you can be like, okay, all right. Okay, team, what are we going to do now? It seems like this is happening. This isn't. And you're probably a one-man team. You're probably a one-man team, just like me. Right? Most of us are probably one-man teams or one-woman teams. let's be honest here. Like most of us do not have like the backing. I don't know if they have big teeth. I know they have like really weird, creepy eyes. So we're gonna draw some weird, creepy eyes on that. Most of us are just one man studios. We hold our own and we do what we can with what the resources we have. And if that's not the case, if you're actually like, if you have like a team behind you, oh my God, you're so lucky. You're so lucky to have like supportive people around you. If you have friends and stuff like that, they back you up, like not just with their time, but with like their love and their support. You are blessed more than most of us out here. We have, out of all 445 people on the stream, you let me know. Put a little heart here if you are a one-man team. If you are just by yourself trying to tackle this shit on all day, hit it right here. Because that's me. That's me every single day. Right? I don't wake up with people like helping me out. I don't wake up with people sending me encouraging messages. I live by myself. I'm single. I don't really, talk about art with my family or anything. So it's just me. It's me against the world. And then I have to figure out, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? Every single day. How am I going to make this a better day than yesterday? And it's very easy to get discouraged. Sometimes all it takes is one shitty comment from someone, and then everything can go like down the drain. Right? So we have to condition ourselves so that we don't feel like that. So that when people do say negative things, they don't like ruin our days, that they don't like, ruin our inspiration, ruin our drive. Like, because that's the tough part. Like, we can create. We are artists. We can create. That's not hard for us. We each have our own special way of creating. And that's not the difficult part. The difficult part is having the consistency to do it over and over and over when it's needed. That's the hard part. The hard part is not doing the artwork. The hard part is doing it consistently enough to be seen. Okay? The hard part is consistency over time. That's the success formula for any artist. And that's the hardest thing to do for most artists. Because we don't like to create when we're not happy. We don't like to create when we're not in an optimal state of mind. So many of us are pretty fragile. We are pretty fragile, and let's like, you don't have to sugarcoat it. We're more emotional people than most, And as artists, we don't really have to deal with a lot of the stresses that come along with, jobs like construction and shit like that. So our lives are relatively simple. Like, we sit down and we use our brains to create what we need. That is our tool. We might not have the sturdiest hands or like the burliest bodies or anything like that, but we are just genuinely using talents that nobody else has in order to create the things that everybody loves. So we're essential. Just as essential as anybody else. Anybody that tells you that they go home after a long day's work and they don't listen to their favorite songs just to be able to get through the day is lying. Someone that goes home after a work at a law firm and they watch their favorite comedies or their favorite animations or Marvel movies because, it helps them get through the day, that's you. That was one person, one of us, helping them get through their day. And I don't know anyone that doesn't have a story in which they just love doing something creative and artistic when they go home, after a long day of working a shitty job that they probably hate. So, the next time that you feel like you're not doing anything, like you're not moving forth and you're not creating the things that you want, remember how many people rely on people like us in order to be able to be happy, in order to be able to have a purpose. and in order to be able to feel like their life matters. Because so many people just work, 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 and they don't take the time to actually appreciate the lovely things in life. And it's people like us that allowed them to see that. Because we take the time to do that. Because we dedicated our lives to be able to create that for them. Because we love it so much that we are willing to share what we create with everyone else. Just in the hopes that they smile when they see what we create. Okay? So, the next time you feel like you don't have motivation, the next time that you get a negative comment from someone, the next time that you feel like, you want to give up, remember what I'm saying right now. Because those words will carry you through. Okay? Someone told me these words back when I was about to give up in college. And thanks to that person, I'm teaching all of you now. Thanks to that one amazingly awesome teacher, I am here teaching thousands of people every day. And I wouldn't have it any other way. All right, we have Mr. Guinea Pig. I always remember those words. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Okay, we're done with our Mr. Guinea Pig. What should we draw next? How to draw hair, please. I don't know how to draw it. We went over hair in our last stream, so just go watch it on YouTube. I also have how to draw hair tutorials on YouTube as well. So if you want to have another one of those, please just go watch those first and then let me know if you actually, if I didn't answer your questions, then you can ask me, okay? And it's not a ploy to get you to go look at my YouTube. Like, that's pointless to me. I'm just trying to give you information. If you guys have ever watched my streams, I don't ask people to go do things for me. I don't ask people to buy my shit. I don't ask people to purchase anything. I don't ask people to support me. I'm here to provide information to those that want to learn. And I'm just a resource. And until I'm able to do this as a full-time for like work, I'm going to be doing it like this. All right, so next one. Okay, what should we draw? Cats. A cat, huh? All right, we can draw a cat. Let's draw... let's see. Cats are interesting because they can be any shape because they kind of like, they're like water. But the most iconic cats that I ever saw was like the poses like this when I was little. So my mom, bless her heart, she passed away a couple years ago. But she always taught me very, very fun, cute ways to draw animals. Right? So she taught me that I always had to draw the front legs first into the shoulders, right? And that's with animals like cats, dogs, elephants, whatever. And then it goes into a little half circle for the belly. And the belly's always a different color, right? And it has like a tuft of hair. Then it goes into the legs. And the legs have this little curvature apparently all the time into longer limbs. They kind of look like Converse shoes. And then we went into the face. The faces were always super cartoony with my mom. She would just like make like little like nostrils with triangles and W's, and she was like, do this, and then give a little triangle, and then you have a little mouse, or like a little nostril, right? Now that I understand perspective, I still use this method, but I subdivide it into sections. So now I understand how a muzzle works, by the simple explanation of my mom giving me as a W with a triangle. now I implement my own, understanding of things, and then I can come up with the same shape, but it's now a three-dimensional shape. So we're going to focus on that. Cats also have like, oh man, I always get this wrong with cats too. Like cats have like a downward nose like this. And then dogs have a more full nose that has nostrils inside. Right? So this is the difference kind of between a dog's nose and a cat's nose. But what always throws me off is that I've drawn cartoony cats so much that I have not really taken the time lately to understand what a real cat's anatomy is. So therefore, I have been drawing a lot of really cartoony cats, which is a big weakness that I'm realizing right now as you guys asked me to draw a cat. And I was like, I guess I'll have to draw him cartoony. So understanding my own weakness, now I can go in and study cats because now I have a purpose and I know what to learn because I find it difficult to draw them. Right? I don't run away from it. I'm not going to run away from the fact that I can't draw a cat. I'm just going to use that knowledge and now try to fix that gap in my skill set. If you don't like to draw hands, guess what you suck at? If you don't like to draw buildings, guess what you suck at? If you don't like drawing animals, horses, fish, anything, just guess what you gotta draw next. Right? Like, nobody likes to admit that they have weaknesses in their art. Nobody does. But we do. All of us do. All of us came out looking like a little fox more than a cat. Oh well. Nobody likes to admit they have flaws, especially in our art, because it's so unique. It's so us. How can it ever be wrong? If you essentially go about like your career in your art saying, "Oh, well, I only draw it like that because that's the way I do it." If that has ever come out of your mouth, you are tricking yourself and fooling yourself into thinking that your style is the only way to draw things. If you think like that, you're probably pretty arrogant too. Right? You probably take criticism as an attack, and you probably have absolutely zero concern about learning anything that's difficult for you. Now, the difficult part is going to be accepting that. Accepting that you're that person and seeing if you can actually change that. If you don't accept that person, you're never going to change. But if you can, if right now you realized, oh my God, I'm that person. I'm the person that says that all the time. I don't like to draw this because it's not in my style. Or I don't do realism because I don't do realism. Or I don't draw perspective. I like my style. I do graffiti art. I did street art when I was younger. So therefore, I don't need to know perspective. Because my style's dope. All those things that I just mentioned are things that I hear from people every day. And all those people have normally not improved in years of time. And they wonder why. And they want the tip and they want the neat trick to be able to get better. And they want that simple solution and that simple, oh, what's that pen? Oh my God, what's that pencil that you're using? That must be the trick. That must be the whole reason that my artwork is not advancing because I'm not using the right tool. Nope. It's not that. The reason you're not advancing is because you told yourself that you didn't need to learn anything else. The reason you're not improving is because you literally told yourself over and over that it was pointless to learn all the essentials because you were so set in your style and you were going to be wanting to do it forever. And you're going to be so known for that one style. even though that probably is a style that was somebody else's style and you just made it a little bit your own. Now, when you understand basics and foundations and all the fundamentals, the style just becomes a way of breaking the rules, but knowing how to break them, right? So if I know how to draw an eye, like a real eyeball, if I'm drawing a real eyeball, it consists of a couple things, right? So it consists of like the little colored area, and it consists of the little black area in the middle, and it has the little white stuff, and it normally has like eyelashes and eyebrows and all that stuff, right? Let's just draw a really quick eye. So normally it's a round object that has eyelashes and eyelids and a tear duct, all that stuff. So let's say that we know all the elements to an eye. So we understand that all those elements have to be there in order to create an eye. What's another element of the eye? The eye is actually round, right? It's a spherical shape. So it's actually this shape right here. So what happens when light hits it? Light hits it, parts of it would be shaded. So if you understand that, you can add a little bit of color or shadow to the edges, and it's not going to look off because you know where to put it. It's just going to add to the volume of the whole element, right? Okay, so having those few elements that we know about an eye, now we can make a square eye really easy. Ooh, let's just make an eye into a square. Right? Let's give it like the nice, thick anime eyelashes. Yeah, super big. Like, oh. Let's make it square, even more square. So I'm just going to keep those same elements, but I'm going to turn everything into a square. Same elements are there, same exact thing. It's still an eye. I know how and what is consisting of the eye. Therefore, I can break the rules and draw them any way I want. I want triangle eyes? Sure, triangle eyes. I have my eyelid, which is thicker. And we can have some cool triangle eyes. It doesn't matter what style you're using. As long as you understand the concept of what you're drawing, you can draw it in any style you want. Okay, so I focus a lot more on teaching people how to construct things and how to visualize them as 3D elements, right? As opposed to teaching you a style. I don't want to teach you to draw in my style. I want to teach you how to draw and visualize things so you can make your style yours, so you can make it come alive, so you can make it work. Because that's the hard part. The hard part isn't understanding how somebody else draws something. Anybody can copy Tom the elephant, or my little good koala right here, or my little like tapir. Anybody can copy that. But understanding what I did to be able to create that is what's going to allow you, right there, yeah, you. It's going to make you understand how to make this your own. Okay? You know, it's good to be able to I draw myself a lot because that's my base form. That is what I learned to draw, and that's what I want to draw. But as you can see, it is just all about the function and how you draw it. If you know what you're drawing, it becomes easy. And also make sure that you draw your emotions out, because sometimes you get sad and you still want to do it. Here's a nice little lesson that I just wrote out the other day. Okay, so a face with no perspective is flat. A face with a little perspective has curvature, right? Now it starts looking like it has angles. Now, when you take a basic shape like a sphere and a basic shape like a square, you combine them, that's how you start getting face shapes, okay? Then when you want to add cheeks and detail, it's just big basic shapes cut out from the object or added to the object in order to create these volumes and bumps. You might not be able to see this right away, something as complex as this yet, but you can see a sphere and you can see a box. You can practice playing with those too. I have not made a book yet, but I have a publishing deal. So I might be getting that released next year. That'd be fantastic. So from that, you can make comic book characters. You can make cartoon characters. You can make, anything you want from this. You can make silly, exaggerated versions. But this eventually turns into this, which eventually turns into this, which eventually turns into this. Okay? So, and then drawing people in public is also very important. Go to your local coffee shops and just draw people as they come in, But practicing all these little things, practicing your perspective, understanding perspective is going to be the key to unlocking everything else. That is the reason that it's so important and so adamant and that's why every teacher essentially explains to you that perspective and anatomy are two of the most basic understandable skills. They're foundation skills that are necessary, absolutely necessary, in order to you to have a nice, long, prosperous career. Because they teach you and they do solidify a lot of things that you don't understand yet. You might not understand why they're important yet because you're starting off. Okay? But as a person that's been doing this for 20 years, as a successful artist, I will tell you, I set myself back by easily a good 12 to 15 years by relying on style rather than relying on knowledge. Okay? Never, ever replace knowledge with style. If you don't know how to draw hands outside of your own style, study hands and then adapt them to your style. Okay? If you go down an entire human body, start drawing an entire human body, and the moment that you find that you don't know what you're drawing, take notes. Be self-critical. Be your own teacher. Okay? That's the only way to get better. If you do not analyze what you do, if you do not tell yourself you're doing something wrong and you don't tell yourself you need to improve, you're not going to improve. You need to be your own teacher. You need to be your own critic. You're like a teacher. I have been essentially a teacher without the teaching degree. So let me give you guys a little bit of a story about why I do this. Okay? I'm going to give you guys a little insight into my life. Rod started drawing when he was about 18. So I decided on a whim to go and sign up for art school because, I didn't want to go do law and I didn't want to do all that, arguing for a living. That was my other career path. I would have been a lawyer. But I didn't want to do that. So I decided to just join into an art school from some winnings that I had from playing Magic the Gathering, which was a card game. So I just decided to join art school. And I quickly realized that I was an absolute piece of garbage artist. So I did not have even the remotest amount of skill necessary to be able to be considered an artist. Right? I was like, oh no, what did I do? I didn't have a mustache back then, by the way. So I had spiky hair. I actually had spiky hair. I was not bald. And I had 2 bangs in the front. I also didn't wear my glasses because, it didn't make me look cool. And the best part, I had frosted tips. I look like an NSYNC, like Backstreet Boy type of dude. Okay, so here's little 18-year-old Rod for the first time trying to be around people that have been drawing for their entire lives, right? So the first thing that happened is that I was incredibly excited at first, to be around these people. I was like, oh my God, these are my people. These are the people that watch anime and watch cartoons and they draw all the time. And I'm learning, but in all reality, my drawings weren't even like beginner level compared to these people. My drawings were absolutely garbage compared to the beautiful stuff that these people were producing. And it was incredibly discouraging because, I thought that all of us were going to be beginners. I was a complete naive dummy back then. Right? Okay, so we have little young Rod with a sketchbook. So I remember very, very clearly the first day that I went into like the homeroom, which was like the cafeteria. And I saw so many people drawing in their sketchbooks. I was like, yeah, finally I get to draw with people. Whee! And then, started looking at their sketchbooks. And they were like these magnificent looking things. Like they were like realistic, like portraiture, amazing, like comics and like beautiful pinups and all this stuff, right? Like they had like these amazing drawings of like just wonderful pieces of art in all their sketchbook pages. So I was like, oh my God, are you about to graduate? Oh God, you're amazing. Like, how long did it take you to draw that? And then they're like, oh, I just drew that right now. And they're like so casual about it, like, yeah. Right? They were like, oh, that? Oh, let me see your sketchbook. What you drawing? And then I would be like terrified, absolutely terrified to show them my work because my work was garbage, right? Compared to what they were drawing. They had like amazing like pinups and stuff like that because they've been drawing since they were like in their mom's vagina. They've been drawing forever. So I was like, like what? Oh my God. Like, yeah, I gotta go. So I would tell myself to get excused a lot when people started talking about like, oh, what should we all draw next? What should we do this? Oh my God, we should start a sketch club. And I wanted to be part of all that, but I felt embarrassed because I felt like I was such a fraud. So it took one kind teacher in my life to take me aside and explain to me what the hell was I doing there. Okay? There was no, I was not an artist. I was not. I wanted to be one. I really wanted to be one, but I wasn't. I had not studied what I needed to do. I did not study all the requirements that were going to be asked of people. I didn't know what career choices I had. I honestly signed up to art school thinking, I want to draw cartoons. And then the person was like, oh, you want to do animation? I'm like, oh, I thought that was graphic design. I didn't know the difference between graphic design and animation. That's how ill-prepared I was going into the art world. Okay? So I was not ready for that. I was not ready for the amount of creativity and dedication that was needed because I had never experienced that. I'd never been in art club. I'd never been in a sketching group. I've never had friends that drew. I had a cousin that drew a little bit when I was younger, but that was pretty much it. Like I didn't really understand anything. So everything that I essentially gambled my financial future on something I had absolutely no fucking clue what I was getting into. And that eventually set in about a year into the career when I had spent about $20,000 and I was not getting better. So I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Do I just quit? And that's when this teacher came in. And he was like, all right, Rod, I see that you're struggling. People kept telling me that you like are going into the boys' bathroom and crying from stress. What's going on? And sure enough, I was doing that. I never thought anybody hurt me, but I would literally be so frustrated with myself that I would just go cry in the bathroom in between classes because, it was just hard, And again, I'm a hyper self-reliant person. And even though I was married at the time, I didn't know who to go to. I had no idea of who to rely on or how to explain to people that I didn't want to be a failure. I don't like failing at things. I'm a very, very stubborn man. So, this great teacher, his name was Bob Hannon, he took me aside and was like, all right, Rod, okay, you're struggling, dude. Like, what are you doing here? Like, what do you want to do with your life? Like, what do you want to do with your career? Because you're struggling, and I don't know if you're cut out for this. And I was like, I'm probably not. I'll tell you the truth. I've been thinking about quitting a lot, and I'm stressful. I'm stressed out. I'm not having fun like everybody else is. This is just probably not my field as much as I would want it to be. What do I do? The teacher did this. He's like, you want to get better? You want to act? Oh, by this time, I was actually using my glasses because I realized that I was colorblind and I was trying to mitigate that too. Oh, by the way, yeah, that also happened. I found out that I was colorblind the first year that I was in college. So, yay! Even more of a reason not to be an artist, right? I'm red-green colorblind. And the people in my school were asking why I would draw everybody like an alien, like a Martian. And I wasn't trying to. I just didn't know what skin tone was. So I kept on accidentally coloring everybody green. So I was considered the weird kid that drew aliens all the time, even though I wasn't trying to. And that was a fun realization. So if it wasn't already like shitty that I was like already feeling like inferior, now people would consider me the alien dude, the weird kid that drew aliens. So I was like, great. So no mustache at this point yet. But what he told me was like, okay, obviously you're new. You're new to this. You don't know what you're doing. So we gotta build you up from scratch. And I was like, yeah, but I can't be spending like $30,000 a semester, playing at guessing, man. Like that's my life savings. I can't do that. And then he's like, I know, but can you give me like 2 months? Give me 2 months and I'll talk to all your teachers and just give me 2 months of your life. And if we can't like make you certain that you can be an artist, I'll help you try to get some of your money back. Because then it seems like they just kind of scammed you into coming into the school. And I was like, all right, that's fair enough. I'll give you a couple months. So what he did, he's like, come back the next day. Just come back tomorrow. I come back tomorrow, and he had a one whopping, gigantic, freaking sketchbook with him. Okay, this sketchbook, I have not seen them in the art stores anymore. They used to be sold by a company called Borders, which was like a bookstore. These sketchbooks were about 200 pages. Okay? These sketchbooks were about 200 pages big. when he brought it out, I thought that he was gonna show me his sketchbook and he was like gonna like tell me like, okay, cool, this is what you should do, this is what you should draw, this is the stuff that you should do, focus on. No, it's a blank sketchbook. He was like, okay, here you go. I want you to fill this up in 2 weeks. I saw that, and I don't know the exact math. Maybe you guys can like, like make the math, but I remember it was easily close to like 10 to 15 pages a day. Okay? I had to I was just flabbergasted because I had the same sketchbook for 2 years and I was not even halfway done. My little notebook one that I had that still had lined paper because I didn't like buy a normal sketchbook for some reason. It made it easier to have the lines so I could measure things. If I had to draw two things together like guys, I had the lines. So it helped me. But he gave me this blank sketchbook and was like, okay, I want you to fill this up in 2 weeks. I was like, holy shit, dude. What? I have class. I'm working 2 full-time jobs to be able to afford school. I was working full-time as a caricature artist, doing my best to try to learn how to draw like people just through repetition. And I had a delivery job as well. So I was like, how am I going to do this? So it became a set of priorities. Okay. In order to fulfill what is like 14 to 15 pages a day, I think that's the amount, right? And if you miss any, you have to make them up the next day. So if I missed 5 pages this day, I only do 9, I'd have to do 19 the next day. So I finished the sketchbook after 1 week. So I'm dead, right? I'm like I managed to draw when I was on the toilet. I was drawing when I was eating. I was drawing when I was waiting in the store. I was drawing when I was driving with other people. I literally had other people drive me places so that I had time to draw. Because this was my career. This was the last ditch effort for me to be able to actually make something of it, or at least try to get my money back, right? Because, he promised that if I tried, he'd try to at least help me get my money back. So I was like, okay, I can't not do this. So you see me drawing like a damn maniac everywhere. I'm just drawing everywhere I can. My hands are hurting. I'm sleeping like 3 hours a night max. For this entire week, I'm drawing just nonstop, and I ran out of things to draw within 20 minutes. So the thing that I started doing, I started just drawing everything I saw around me. If I saw a plant, I'd draw the plant. Right? If you saw, I don't know, a rock that would look kind of cool, I would just try to draw the rock. Not even like this much. This is too much detail for what I was drawing, honestly. I was doing my best, but I couldn't draw anything, really. It was just looking like little doodles from a 10-year-old. Eventually, I got through the whole book. And I go and deliver it to him. I'm like, oh my God, Mr. Hannon! Oh my God, Mr. Hannon! Here's the sketchbook. I finished it. Yes! He went like this. He grabs it, tosses it to the garbage. He throws it in the garbage bin, gives me another one, and he's like, here's another one. You have 2 weeks. I was like, ah! I was so angry. He just dismissed it. He just threw it in the trash. For God's sakes. He just literally dumped it in the trash can. He did not take 2 seconds to look at it before he threw it in the trash. And then he gives me another one and he's like, okay, you have 2 weeks for this one too. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? He's like, are you questioning or are you just going to do what I ask? And I was like, okay, okay, all right, I'll do it. And I was so sad, but I still did it, right? I was like, he has to have a reason for this. He has to have a reason for this. Next week, does the same thing. Same exact shit. That's 2 books in the trash. He just goes, literally, he just grabs it and throws it in the trash. And I'm like, oh my God, why are you making me do this? So he made me do that for both sketchbooks, 400 pages in a month. After that, he literally just gave me a single piece of paper and he was like, okay, Rod, can you draw me like something? I'm like, what the hell do you want me to draw now? Like, you just threw away you can see what I can draw in my, it's like, Rod, can you just draw me like I don't know, like a little person? And I'm like, yeah, of course I can draw a person. And I started drawing. And as I'm drawing, I start crying. I start crying sad tears of joy because I realized at that point I was able to actually draw something from memory. I was able to draw exactly what he asked me in a very rudimentary way, but I was finally able to actually conceptualize something. I was crying like a fucking baby. I was so happy, and I finally realized what he was doing. I realized that he was essentially making me build a mental library. He made me build all the mental imagery that I lacked from 19 years of not doing it. He was forcing me to understand that I don't need to have the object in front of me to draw it. That anything that I observe is a lesson. That anything in any situation that I find myself in, I can have the time and priority to prioritize my dream, or I can prioritize other stupid shit. I stopped playing video games that day. I stopped playing video games for hours at a time, at least. And I told myself, if this is going to be something I do that I enjoy, it's going to be something that I enjoy that's going to help me progress in this because I want this as a career. I want this as my dream. And after I realized that I could do it, that I could build up a little bit of a mental library in order to be able to calibrate my brain to be able to compete with the other people in my skill at my level, I realized that even having 19 years of experience on me didn't teach them much. Because at the beginning stages, you only draw the things that you really like, right? You don't focus on perspective. You don't focus on anatomy. You don't focus on anything. You focus on Dragon Ball and Sailor Moon. At least that was for me, right? And you focus on superheroes and you focus on like fun things. All the fun things that you draw when you're young, they have absolutely almost zero relevance when you start studying art. So the learning curve goes like this. When you're little, let's say 0 to, I don't know, when people start career, 17 maybe. So from 0 to 17, your learning curve goes like this. When you start getting serious, it goes like this. The moment you realize that this is a serious thing, your learning curve exponentially jumps. And then people plateau when they get to a point where they're good. If you get good, you tend to plateau and just very slightly refine. But the whole point of learning and keeping learning is to have that accelerated growth throughout your whole career, right? I found myself here. I was barely catching up to people, and I was maybe here by the time I graduated, when people were over here already, okay? But within a year or two after graduating, self-teaching, I shot up to here. And I surpassed most of the people that I actually went to school with. And I'm not saying that as a point of bragging. It's literally just a explanation as to why it's not too late to start. A simple process that if you're struggling really freaking hard with drawing from memory, do that. Draw me 400 pages in a sketchbook in 1 month. Do me that favor. If you are struggling from drawing from memory, do that. And if you can, come back to me that next month and tell me you can't draw from memory. And if you can't still, If you did that and you can't, I will send you free books. I will send you and give you free personal mentoring without cost. No cost to you. You do that and it doesn't help you, I will personally see why and I will fix you and inspire you. Okay? One thing about me it always confuses people. And it always confuses people because so many people are so like out to just look out for themselves. But that is the reason that I do what I do. I teach, I get on here on streams every day because I wish that I had someone like me. I wish that someone was doing what I'm doing when I was starting out. If I had somebody to explain to me things in a simple way, a way that made sense, not intimidating, or to make me feel stupid because I don't know a certain topic, because I did feel like that with a lot of lessons, I would have been so much better. So the reason that I do this without asking for money, without like requiring people to pay for the learning, which I could very easily do that and it would be successful. But I don't want just the privileged people to be able to learn. You know, I don't want people that just have money to be able to create. I want everybody to create. I don't want people to be limited by their financial hardships. You know, I came from an immigrant family, man. I know what it's like to not have money and still have a dream. You know, and sometimes a lot of the fun jobs, creative jobs like design and animation, you know, they're kind of like left out for privileged people because, you know, if you have money, you don't have to worry about surviving. You know, if you have financial means and a family that's going to support you and, you know, pay for your stuff, you don't have to worry about surviving. And if you don't have to worry about surviving, it's very easy to be creative. When you have to worry about surviving, it's a little harder because you can't take the jobs that you want. You can't make the decisions that you want. You have to make them out of survival mode. You know? And that's a big difference between just being able to do you and surviving as a designer. And most people, you know, never get to the point where they get to enjoy to be the creative freedom that they've worked for. They're still doing logos for other companies, marketing assets for other companies, banners, crap like that. And you know, as much as I respect that side of art, nobody signs up to a career in art to do that. No one does. Just like you don't sign up to be a cop to be a parking maid, a meter maid. You know, it's just something that you just don't do, and we settle because we stop pushing. If we settle, we might get happy with a parallel, you know, path. We might be able to get like something similar to what we want in life, but maybe not exactly that one thing. And that's great. That's actually something that I encourage, and I enjoy, you know, seeing people enjoy parallel paths to their career. The only problem is that when we think we found one of those parallel paths to our joy, and we realize that it's just something that's soul draining instead of happy. You know, sometimes a creative job is literally the most soul draining thing because you're not creating the things you want. But you're not using your imagination, your creativity to what you want it to be. You end up using it in order to satisfy somebody else's ambition, somebody else's dream. You know, you help, as a designer, you're helping other people bring out their ideas and their visions and their dreams and their manifestations, and they're all coming through you. They are literally using you as a tool to get their ideas out of their brain because they don't know how to. No, being creative is great. And you don't actually even have to be all that creative to be in an art job. Like, I've been in jobs where t-shirt designers don't even know how to draw. They just copy things online. They just found a way. You find a way. If you don't have the technical skills or you don't have the hand, eye coordination to draw, you can always trace. Like, there's always a way. If you are really interested in a job in the art field, you will find a way. Like, the drive to be able to be creative in your own way should always be at the back front of your mind. Like, you should always aim to be your own boss, especially in art, because as an employee, you are dispensable. According to every company that I have ever worked for, no matter how good of a job you do for them, eventually you will become too expensive to have as an asset. Because your value grows as an artist, so you need to understand that companies can't always function properly paying you what you need, what you require. So that's going to happen a lot, right? You become too good at your job, become too valuable, and then they have to let you go because they can't afford that anymore. You will run into that situation quite often in your life. And instead of feeling defeated and feeling like you can't, like find a job that's suitable for you, that keeps you longest, stop worrying so much about an employer and try to find a way to make money for yourself. An artist that likes to be an employee will always suffer. That period. That's it. That's that simple. If you like being an employee because it's cushy, right now it might feel good. Come your old age, you're going to understand how hard it is to make money from your art. And if you don't have a retirement account, and if you don't have like financial means at that point, you're going to be stuck in a very shitty situation. Okay? Learning how to do freelance work when you're older is going to be insanely hard. So learn about what you can do right now and just, enjoy the fact that you have a job with an employer, but set yourself up so that when that job expires, because it will, it always does, we are expendable. Unfortunately, very fucking unfortunately, we are expendable as artists. Okay? There's so many people trying to do what we do and willing to do it for almost free that employers don't really value people that do a lot of very good work. So set yourself up for success by using the time that you're doing by working for others to build a foundation that will allow you to function without a company. As an employee, you're a light match, and the box is the boss. Yeah. Okay, so we're almost done. We have time for one more big doodle or a couple little doodles. So what do you guys want to learn now? What do you guys want to do now? Meanwhile, shoot me a little heart because has been a really, really interesting one. And also, I want you guys to know that I'm not going to be normally streaming for the next 2 weeks. I hope that I don't lose all my audience, but I'm going to be traveling a little and I'm going to be spending a lot of time with like new friends and experiencing life a little bit over the next 2 weeks. I will try to stream still once a day for a little bit, but I hope you understand that even people like me need to replenish our creative juices. And, I know how social media is. So normally after 2 weeks, you lose all your audience. So I hope that doesn't happen. Can you do a wave? Because it really are those perspective of waves. Oh, so if you're trying to do waves, depending on what you're trying to draw, let's draw like a little scene. Okay? If we have our horizon line, that's our horizon. That's a division between the sky and the water. And then if we have just our basic grid map, to map out the floor, then you can start drawing like objects in here in any way, shape, or form. Let's say that the beach is gonna be coming in this direction. Right? It's going into the distance there. And the waves are crashing in this direction. So in order to create a wave is just like a little bend going into the distance. Right? So depending on how big your wave is, you can just draw it in perspective and then dissipate it into the water. Essentially, that's all it is. It's just a little tube. And it extends as far back as you want it. You can make big ones going into perspective. And then just give it like the little foamy parts. Did it say June 27th? Yeah, I forgot to change the name of the stream before I started. So once you have that, then you can have like people, oh my god, such a big wave, yay! Or have one that's coming in like from the top. But it's the same concept. It's just a big like cylinder crashing, and then the curvature of the water would just be following that path. Okay, so that's how you draw waves. Can you draw a goblin? I think I've drawn a goblin a couple times today already. But I'll draw a goblin. Okay, a goblin. I'd say goblins have like weird noses. So I'm going to draw like a nice hooked nose. They tend to have really sunken in eyes. So we're going to sink his eyes into an eye socket. They tend to be grumpy. So we're going to give them some brow lines. Then they have ears, right? Have like pointy ears. They're going to sink his eye into the eye socket by creating shadows where the eye socket should be. They have small foreheads. And they tend to have really high cheekbones. I believe they have small jaws too, but it can make them smiling. Why not? And as you can notice, I'm not drawing the bottom jaw first. Like I like to draw the bottom jaw like last, because then I can know exactly how my mouth is supposed to go. That's why I don't draw the bottom part of the face until like after. I draw all my top parts that don't move, and then I worry about drawing the bottom in order to have the proper perspective, because the mouth is a very like movable area. It moves a lot. Okay, there you go. We have a goblin. There you go. Can you draw trees? Well, we don't have much space, but I guess I could draw a couple trees. Now, trees are very interesting, and you can draw them in a lot of different ways. But the way that I like to draw it, especially with highlighter or with watercolor, is to create little dabby parts. I dab the marker so it leaves little dots. I make the bushes of whatever the tree is supposed to have. I just make a bunch of them. I don't concern myself with evenness or anything. I like the fact that it's not even. And then from there, you can just make your trunk in any way, shape, or form, as long as it has volume. And then connect that to the branches. Add some branches inside. And that's a fun way to create trees. You can also do plants with highlighter really easy by just flicking. Like highlighter is a very, very good tool. People just, knock it short because it's just a cheap marker, but that's all you need. A cheap watercolor marker. That's all they are. And then just add like little elements of like texture if you want to add even more detail. Okay. Then you have a tree. Can you draw wood texture? Wood texture is actually very easy. Let's say you have a plank or a box. Just add little swirlies like this. Just add little swirlies and it's going to start looking like wood. Ta-da. An astronaut. I don't think we have much space anymore. I think we have a little tiny gap right here. Okay, I guess I can draw a little baby astronaut. Let's do our zoom powers. Okay, as we finish up the page, I want you guys to please hit that like thing right here. Go subscribe to me if you haven't yet. I stream almost every day. I do lessons like this every single time. I love teaching. And if you have not followed me on Instagram, please do so. I do auction off pieces for one-off sketches there. I post all my updates, all my new books are linked there. My store is there. If you guys haven't followed me on YouTube, that's where I have hundreds of videos, guys. Hundreds of videos exactly like this or even cooler that you guys should check out. If you enjoyed what you learned today, or what I talked about, or how I taught it, or any way, shape, or form, you guys will enjoy absolutely everything in my YouTube channel. So go check it out if you guys want. If you don't, that's fine too. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I hope you guys learned a little bit. I'm not here to pressure you guys into anything. You don't have to buy anything. But I do have ways that you guys can support. Of course, there are 2 books that I have for sale. One is Coffee Break Doodles, #1, which is a collection of all the coffee break doodles that I did for a very long time. And I also have Pinups, Volume 1, which is a book of amazing, hot little pinup drawings that I've done as well over my career. Both of them are about like 50, 60 pages, and they will be awesome for your collection. And a good reference tool as well if you guys just like going around drawing things as well. All right, so we have an astronaut. So even though I don't normally ask for, support, if you guys do want to support, there is options for you out there. All the resources I provide are free. And I also do offer a free activity book. If you guys go to my Instagram and you guys go to my link page, you guys can see a free activity book that it's called Color Me Everything, I think. Color Me Silly. No, it's Color Me Silly. I released it a while ago as a thank you for all of you because my brother had gone through some bad shit and then you guys all supported. So I wanted to create something that's strictly free, completely, and fun for you guys as well. So go make sure you get your activity book and enjoy it. And if you guys do any of those, make sure to tag me so I can see what you guys do. Because I love seeing what people do. All right, we have completed our page today. So let's recap what we learned, okay? So we talked a little bit about inspiration, how not to let negative comments or positive comments affect your career. We drew a little cute guinea pig with a hat, and we talked a little bit about foundations and how to actually start thinking a little bit better. Then we drew a cat that ended up looking more like a fox, but it's okay. And we talked a little bit about how my mom taught me how to draw mouths. We talked a little bit about style and how it's more important to learn the process of learning how to draw something than it is to learn how to draw style. And then we went into story time. How I essentially went from being a 0 skill level artist to something more akin of an actual designer or somebody geared towards going into animation, thanks to an amazing challenge that a teacher set out to me. Okay. We learned how to draw waves, we learned about the learning curve, and we also drew a goblin. We also talked about how to correct your drawings within your sketchbook so that you can actually have correct drawings eventually. So if something's wrong, correct it and take a note. It's going to tell your brain not to make the same mistake. And just drew myself because I felt like drawing myself too. Anyways, we drew a tree, and we drew how to draw trees. Anyways, peeps, thank you all so much for, coming. One cool thing that I want to say is these guys from Book Belts, that's what they're named, Book Belts. They have offered me a 30% discount code. So go to my Instagram. I'm going to make a post about this. You guys will have the ability to have your own book belt. These are amazing, by the way. They go around your sketchbook. So, if you have, and they come in all sizes. So that's just one really fun thing that I have for you guys. So I also have discount codes for sketchbooks too, but I got to find them. The sketchbooks right here are Danique sketchbooks. And these and, oh my God, Illo sketchbooks as well. I have a discount code for those. I need to find it so I can give it to you guys. But keep an eye out. Talk to you guys later. Love you all. Gloves off. Mini Rod says bye. Bye. I will be on my way to Europe tomorrow, so I might stream on the train over to the airport. Yay! Because I'll have time to kill. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Love you all. Hope you guys learned a little bit. And talk to you later. Bye.